and yet is the impression. What's up, everybody? Sorry about that. We are kind of rootin' tootin' around here. Just kind of, it's slug week. How you doing? How you doing? Welcome to the Hat and Beard Show. Mad Hatter Nation. It's slug week, a week between Christmas and New Year's when we are just kind of slugging about, doing some things, doing some stuff. But the NFL doesn't stop for slug week, and neither do we. We're trudging on with top flight coverage. Let's go. It's the Hat and Beard Show. Oh, listen to me rhyme. We're on a roll. How? I can't stop, won't stop. You can't stop the boogie. I am an unstoppable force. Rams Falcons on Monday night. What we learned from Atlanta's 27-24 win. The NFL continues to be a fickle mistress and likes to do weird things at weird times. How you go so quickly from the 1 seed to the 5 seed to... Yeah, well, and Matt Stafford needed to make a statement. He did. And that statement is something we've all seen in the 3-1-3 for a decade. We've seen the happy feet Matt Stafford. Happy feet. Trice interception Matt Stafford is what we got. But we'll see what we learned from Atlanta's big, silly win. Now, we will quickly touch on the catch, no catch, Puka Nacua catch. I tweeted about this. If you're not following me over on Twitter, you need to go head over to X and follow me at @hat_and_beard. You'll see me there with old B-Rad in the profile picture. That's when you'll know you're there. All right, we get a little goofy over there. But I did say that the NFL is a parody of itself because, especially the Rams of all teams need to realize you guys already got away with your silly little catch. Now, I understand there is some, arguments in both directions. Personally, I don't like the idea that the ball can't move around at all inside of the guy's hands and or body. Look, if he goes down to the ground and comes up with it and maintains possession, even if it wiggles a little bit, come on now. Give these guys a chance to go out there and show off what they can do athletically. That's what we're paying them millions of dollars for. But, of course, the NFL just can't finish the week out without a little controversy, even if it is the second to last week, the penultimate week of the regular season. Then we're going to kick it over to Lions coverage, right? Lions coach Dan Campbell's offers nuanced answer on playing starters versus the Bears. Will the Detroit Lions play their starters versus Chicago? What about injured players? Here's what Dan Campbell had to say. So we'll see what Jeremy Reisman, our guy Jeremy Reisman over at the pod, has for us lined up. And then another article from Jeremy Reisman, just going to kind of bookend it here. We do have, is that an ad? Okay. Discussion, what Lions players should play more versus the Bears. There's a couple of names that pop up, and I like some of the names on here. We'll see what old Jeremy has to say here. Not necessarily too worried about this individual, but there are some names we'll discuss. It's a talking point. And then to kind of bookend the whole conversation, we'll kick it over to Reddit if we got time. Yeah, I know this is how you know we're getting into the filler, the filler arc of the season. If we're going to be scraping Reddit for some content. Lions' future move to center, not off the table for our thumbnail boy, Tater Ratledge. What could we do? What is the plan with Tate Ratledge? Obviously, we tried him at the preseason, regular season, training camp. The idea there was to get him over to center, i.e. Frank Ragnow. Not quite there this year, but could that possibly be on the table for all of you guys? Just real quickly, there is a poll up in the chat. 281-330-800-FOE. And I've given you three options, three answers to this question. So far, of the 8 votes, 50% of you are saying hit Mike Jones up on the low because Mike Jones is about to blow. And then 25% of you say call for a good time. And 25% of you say bros lost the plot. And that's totally understandable. We are into the filler arc of the season. Shout out to everybody in the chat hanging out this morning. Brandy and Jack were here extra early. Appreciate it. And you guys, you can come whenever. Once I get it up, you can come hang out in the pre-show. A little bit hang out. I do try and chat with you guys, though. I mean, I am running up and down, trying to, top off the coffee and make sure the dogs are plumb level and square and all that stuff. But, feel free to come in, hang out, chat it up a little bit. We get a little wonky and goofy up in here. American Boxers here. Jack's hanging out. Brent DeWitt's here. Brandy's here. Rick's here. How you doing, guys? Did I see Bean? There he is. What's up, Beantown? How you doing, brother? Did you enjoy Matt Stafford handing Drake May the MVP on a silver platter last night, dude? Because that's kind of what I'm thinking ended up happening and will be the ultimate fallout. Drake May had the most to win for Matt Stafford's Matt Staffordian performance. If you guys haven't already, would you kindly subscribe to the channel if you're new here? Ring that notification bell so you can be notified every single time we go live Monday through Friday. We will be live Sunday morning before the game, right? We will be doing that. It'll be our last digital tailgate show of the season. And then also keep that notification bell turned on because we're going to be here in the next week. We're going to be doubling down. It's going to start cranking up the production. Going to be oversaturating the market with Hat and Beard. It is a war of attrition, and I'm going to wear you down. Eventually, everyone will succumb to Mad Hatter Nation and the sanity or insanity that we peddle around here. But everyone will eventually understand that what we say is the actual truth, and Brad Holmes needs to listen to what I say because I know ball. Ha! Or I'm just talking out of my ass. I could be an AI in here. That's all you know. You never know. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it around with all your friends. It's the best way to get this content out here. If you think about it later tonight or tomorrow morning before you come hang out, come back to this video, slap a hype on this. It really boosts us up. It's a little tool engineered for small-time creators to help elevate us. So that's a big thing you can do. You get 3 of those a week. And if you feel like dropping one on one of my videos, that's absolutely the cat's pajamas and knees upon bees. Now that's all the way. Let's get in the show.
If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, well then hell, you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack.
Alrighty, dighty, boy. We are just having ourselves a week, huh? Oh, also, I should let you guys know we're going to be off on Thursday. Thursday is a holy day of obligation, and we have Mass at 10 a.m. So there will be no show on Thursday. Just letting you guys know. Enjoy the New Year's Day. We will be off just doing things. But, yeah, I got church at 10 a.m. on Thursday. So we will not be live. Just letting you guys know. But Rams-Falcons, Monday Night Football. What we learned from Atlanta's 27-24 win. Falcons delivering prime time again. Although the overall record certainly doesn't suggest it. For whatever reason, these Falcons play their best football under the bright lights of prime time. That was certainly the case on Monday night as Atlanta jumped all over the Los Angeles Rams from the start of the contest, forcing a 3-and-out from before embarking on an 11-play touchdown drive. The true key, though, was the performance of Falcons defense, a unit that made Matty Stafford uncomfortable all night, forcing him to throw 3 interceptions, cashed one in for an instant score, and built a lead big enough for the Falcons to survive a frantic second-half comeback attempt by the Rams. Sounds like we got very the Matt Stafford we've all seen in Detroit. Now, I don't understand how that's possible because Matt Stafford didn't know how to throw a pass before he went to L.A. Once he went to L.A., he's become the greatest thing since sex on a scooter, since pockets in your underwear. You know, you name it, he is now better than that since going to L.A. So I don't comprehend how he could have had such a classic Matt Stafford in Detroit game. But look at how it goes. Number 2, Stafford's rough night might doom Rams. Here you go, Beantown with Patriots quarterback Drake May nipping at his heels. Matthew Stafford entered Monday night with plenty of reasons to perform well. A win would help the Rams stay in the driver's seat for the 5th seed in the NFC side of the playoffs. And a strong showing would move Matt Stafford one step closer to securing the NFL's most coveted award. Let's just do ourselves a little Google search. NFL's most coveted award. I am very tired of doing this. Who wrote this? Nick Shook. Why do they all look like this? Nick Shook, Ryan Gatos. Why do they all look like that? And why do all of them refuse to use proper terminology in actual journalism? It is well known and established by the NFL, the NFL Players Association, the NFL PR teams, that the most prestigious, therefore the most coveted award in the NFL And this is why I say it needs to be the NFL or the Super Bowl halftime show performance, is, and according to Google, the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year award. So all I'm saying, Nick Shook, you get paid around the NFL writer. You got to cover all the teams. You're big pants, Mr. Big Pants, Mr. Big Time. Put on my big boy pants. I think you're the same guy that said Jameson Williams scored a couple weeks ago when we all know that it was Jahmyr Gibbs. But hey, here we are. Yet again, he and the Rams fell brutally short of that mark against a scrappy opponent. Scrappy do. If any defense were to cause problems for the seasoned MVP candidate, it would be one coached by his team's former defensive coordinator. Yes, exactly. You see the connection. Morrison, Falcons DC Jeff Urbich compiled an excellent game plan that leaned heavy on zone coverage and relied on a base rushes to pressure Stafford. And because the Rams couldn't consistently hold up in the trenches, yes, I looked at the numbers. It was very, very bad. The approach worked masterfully in the first half, shutting down Los Angeles' high-powered offense while allowing Atlanta to build a lead. Yes, that's what you do. Now, I know you're asking yourself, well, why couldn't we do that? Just going to throw this out there. Atlanta has a really good pass rush. We have one really good pass rusher and a decent guy that... and this isn't related to the story, but guys, I'm very worried that we are going to overpay for Al-Qadim Muhammad. I got this feeling we're going to turn him into the next Cliff Averill, and it's going to end up really biting us in the ass. I'm not very confident. I need Brad Holmes to switch up his tactics. Number 4, Rams' greatest weakness got exposed. It might be temporary, but for one night, the importance of the offensive line was painfully obvious for the Rams. Oh, but now. Are you implying, Nick Shook, that with Alric Jackson unable to play due to injury and veteran DJ Humphries replacing him in the starting lineup, struggling mightily, Humphries was consistently beaten by edge rushers on run and pass plays, flagged for holding and illegal formations for not being lined up on the line of scrimmage in crucial spots? The offense is built on providing Stafford time to survey and dice up defenses. Now, maybe I'm just reading the tea leaves here. But you say right here, without protection, Stafford struggled. But with these words, you would be implying, I mean, I might be off base here, but I think that you're implying Matt Stafford needs to have everything be perfect around him. I mean, I'm just saying I've heard that about Jared Goff with everything. So by this metric alone, having one player down on your offensive line means that the offensive line is not perfect. Stafford struggled, digging a huge hole. That then implies, well, you're then showing your cards. Matt Stafford needs it to be perfect, right? We know in Detroit, Matt Stafford couldn't win without a 1,000-yard rusher, couldn't win without a running game. Well, he has to have that in Los Angeles, right? He has two dynamic, one regular Pro Bowl and All-Pro receiver, one young, upcoming All-Pro top-end receiver, and a really good defense. Boy, I'm starting to think that we might need to look at the reality of the quarterback position and, well, maybe it's not just Jared Goff that needs a fucking offensive line. Maybe, and I might be way off base here. Maybe you need a good offensive line, period, point fucking blank to win. Oh, I don't fucking know. I'm just, how would I ever get, but, you know, that doesn't matter. Matt Stafford struggled digging a huge hole, out of which the Rams spent the rest of the game climbing, only to fall short of 3 interceptions, 1 pick six, 1 player down on the offensive line, and Matt Stafford had a terrible game. But somehow the narrative is different. Why? Why is the narrative different? Why is it different for Jared Goff, but not different for Matthew Stafford or any other quarterback by that metric when they have 1 player out? We lost a Hall of Fame caliber center, a all-pro guard. We had to replace them with patchwork offensive line, and all I hear is how bad Jared Goff is. Jared Goff needs everything to be perfect around him. You Jared Goff's numbers are pretty similar to what it was when Ben Johnson was here. And I don't think, as much as I called for it, I'll be honest, you guys remember me calling for Jared Goff to start at safety against the Bears twice this year, and he was going to have 6 interceptions on Caleb Williams, and 2 of them he was going to take back to the house. Look, other than that possibly happened, Jared Goff can't play safety. Jared Goff can't play defensive end. Jared Goff can't play cornerback. Right? Jared Goff can't play offensive line. Yes, there are mistakes that were made across the board. But if everyone's going to say that Jared Goff can only win with X, Y, and Z equals perfect storm, but then on the flip side, from NFL.com, national writer, right here we go, around the NFL writer, Nick Shook, in his own words, in his own black and white words, right here, says, Alric Jackson, unable to play, meant DJ Humphries replaced him in the starting lineup and struggled mightily. Stafford struggled, digging a huge hole. So therefore, by your own national media coverage, Matt Stafford needs everything perfect around him to win. Good. I'm glad that we have gotten to the bottom of that. Spent a little too much time on that article, so we're just going to go ahead and keep on moving. We are going to talk. How are we feeling about that, chat? I thought Jared Goff was the only quarterback who needed an O-line. You see, Rick? You're seeing it, dude. Drake May has been without both starting left guard and left tackle since week 9, and he's still dropping dimes. Oh, see, there you go, Beantown. But I don't understand. I have been told time after time after time that quarterbacks have to have everything be perfect for him. Drake May shouldn't win the MVP because he's only in his second year. You have to give it to a guy like Matt Stafford, who by their own national article just said that he needs everything to be perfect for it. Now, you're completely correct. The Patriots, and this is the argument that I was saying yesterday, this is why Drake May deserves the MVP over Matt Stafford, because Matt Stafford has all of the tools around him. Drake May is ahead of the learning curve. He's doing it with less weapons, less household names, and he's doing it with a tattered offensive line and maybe not as talented as a division. Okay, the NFC West is loaded. The AFC East not so great by all metrics. But Drake May doing it with better team, without as many weapons, with a not as great team. Right? Doing it at a significantly younger age and taking such a massive step forward in his second year. You know what I'm saying? Drake is doing more with less. Exactly, dude. Exactly. What's up, Kane? How you doing, brother? Good to see you, dude. If Jared Goff wants an MVP, he needs to be elite. If he wants to win Super Bowls, he needs an elite team. It's literally the same rule for every QB. Yes, dude, and that's the thing. But what I'm pointing out, the problem that I have is that Jared Goff is the first person for them to point the finger at and say, nope, he's not good, he's not elite, because he's not flashy, because he doesn't have quarterback face, because his personality isn't fucking big, because he just goes out there and he just does his job at a really high level, right? I think Jared Goff, maybe not elite, but he's better than very good. He is somewhere in between an elite quarterback and a very good. That's why I say Jared Goff, probably a top 5 quarterback. Elite quarterbacks are your top 2 or 3. You can't have 6 elite quarterbacks. That's not how it works. You know what I'm saying? You either have it or you don't. Jared Goff, yes, does need some things to be set in place, but so do all quarterbacks in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? You have to have a run game. You have to have an offensive line. You have to have guys that can run routes, who can get open, who can catch balls. You know what I'm saying? I like that, American. That's good shit, dude. That's good shit. Team includes coaches, in my opinion. Got to have everyone pulling in the same direction. Beantown, you're completely correct, and that is a big issue with the Detroit Lions. And it started with John Morton. So let's take a look at this one-handed catch. If you guys want to, just we'll quickly skim through it. No, there's going to be an ad. I don't even want to watch it now. So we all seen the Puka catch, right? We all seen the Puka catch, non-catch. How do we feel, chat? Chat, how do we feel about the Puka catch, non-catch? It'll be average and make the playoffs. That's true. That's true, Rick, because the AFC East was a little bit down, What's up, Mr. Detroit City? I appreciate it, dude. Thank you, brother. You keep grinding, dude. I hear y'all down in Florida woke up to a little bit cold temperatures this morning. My guy, Max Velocity, if you guys want some good weather assessment, a degreed meteorologist on YouTube, this guy, Max Velocity, does top end. We've talked about it many times. Max Velocity had some great coverage. It was a catch. All right, here we go. Sorry, guys. I was too busy chatting, bearding it up with y'all in OBS. All right, so this is the problem that I have. God damn it, this thing's going to be in the way. So So there you see he grabs it with the one hand, and now the ball does kind of rotate around, kind of bobble at the end, but he never actually, in my opinion, loses possession, right? Now that is a hell of a catch right there with the defender. I don't think that's even DPI, but here he goes down to the ground, boom, and then you see it bobble a little bit there. But why does it... And y'all, I am not trying to make, this is now 2 days in a row where I am having to defend teams who got one over on my Detroit Lions this very season. Okay. And I'm over here having to defend this because I don't understand how he failed to maintain possession. So the ball so now a catch in the NFL is the ball can't move at all? It does. I don't understand how he loses possession. It might wiggle inside the basket there, but he doesn't. I mean, he never actually loses possession of the ball. At no way does it leave, we'll call the basket. You know what I'm saying? And no way does it leave the basket. Does it even bounce outside of the frame of his arms? Okay. That's a hell of a catch coming down to the ground. Maintains the ball. Now, if the nose had maybe popped out under his elbow, I could maybe understand if it wiggled out under his, like if a third of the ball even. And I'm trying to bury the Rams here. I am trying to find anything I can to justifiably have one toe, let alone 10 toes, to stand on and say that's not a catch. The refs got it right. I don't get it. I don't get it. What is a catch in the NFL now? I don't understand. I do not, whoopsie. I don't understand how that's not a catch. And of course, now it's going to be ads and 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 ads. What do you guys think? How are we feeling, Mad Hatter Nation, on that? Just absolutely redonkulous. And I'm trying to find a way to say no. I'm trying to find a way yesterday to say that Denzel Ward had good coverage. I'm trying to find a way to say that wasn't a catch, but I can't. I can't find anything to absolutely dispute that, because in my opinion, he made an insanely good play. And I'm saying, if the nose of that ball had just bobbled out just a cunt hair, just a boop past his elbow, then yeah. Then you got a couple toes, a little bit of ground, you have an argument. The dude made a great play. But Puka Nacua has the misfortune, and this is maybe Matt Stafford will have all the more reason to retire after Puka decided to open up his mouth. Boy, it doesn't really feel like the Rams are having much go their way anymore, huh? It's almost like the refs don't like being called out, and now they might be a little upset with you, Puka. And welcome to Detroit. Welcome to our world. Welcome to the shit box nightmare that is the Detroit Lions franchise. You know what I'm saying? Change by play anymore. If you ask 10 officials what a catch is, you'll get at least 10 different answers. 100% correct, Jack. That is exactly it. There is no baseline. There is no standard. You have to have a standard. And when the standard is what the standard is. You don't deviate from the standard. You don't once you make one exception to the standard, you have to make a million exceptions to the standard. Once you give a mouse a crumb, they're going to want a cookie. You know what I'm saying? And this is just absolute malarkey at this point. If Goff haters were honest, they would say they don't like him because he looks autistic. Yes. 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 100%. 100%. I think that really, Kane, I think you are absolutely onto something. And that's what I'm saying. Jared Goff doesn't look the part. You know what I'm saying? Like I said yesterday with John Morton, if you were to take Jared Goff out of the NFL, right, and you were to put him in like a Dick's Sporting Goods assistant manager uniform, you'd be like, that's a guy who works out, but you wouldn't go, that's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, potential MVP candidate, cusp of 5,000 yards passing every year, statistically the second best QBR roughly in the NFL, complete record, not record breaking, but year in and year out top end completion percentage. And when you look at the face, he doesn't have a marketable face. Jared Goff just looks like a guy. You know what I'm saying? And like you say, yeah, dude, he looks kind of like a little, like he really likes trains. You know what I'm saying? Like he really likes trains. And it's just like, can't you just look at the numbers? But people, that's exactly it, dude. He's not marketable. You know what I mean? It's not a catch. Packers didn't win on Thanksgiving. I know, Rick. That's this week-to-week change is ridiculous. This is how AI is going to take over American. I know, dude. Now, look, we can track these guys' biometrics play by play. There is absolutely no reason. Now, okay. I understand where people are at with AI. I've talked about AI. I use AI for assistant purposes, as a check, as a tool. You can't rely completely upon it, but you can, the hammer's not going to nail the nail itself, right? The hammer is just there for you to use properly to to drive the nail down. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can use other tools, but the hammer is designed for that. If you use the tool for a specifically intended purpose, it's totally fine. At some point, with the speed of the game, right, human eye is going to fall to error, right? And we know that memory is incredibly susceptible to error. At a certain point, you have to start leaning into technological assistance to help. There is no reason why we can't have sensors that weigh literally nothing in the ball and across the goal line, so if the ball crossed the goal line. There's no reason why you have to rely on a ref and then go to replay review, short of did his knee go down. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason why it should come to human error when there is all types of metrics. We don't even need sensors. We can have LiDAR. You know what I'm saying? We can have... They're called, in the industry I was raised in, they're called light gates. You know what I'm saying? Literal just light beams that shine across an entryway. It's opened or it's closed. It's occupied or it's not. It's pretty fucking simple, dude. Now I'm not saying we need to have the clankers completely out there. I don't need C-3PO and R2-D2 throwing flags, okay? Because that's never going to work. And then we're going to have the AI revolution, and then we're just going to live in Dune, where we're going to have the Butlerian revolution. And I am so much of a dork that I know what the Butlerian revolution is right off the rip like that. God damn, what is wrong with me? I like trains, okay? But you got to have a little bit of assistance to it. The game has sped up so fast compared to what it was in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and today. You know what I'm saying? It just keeps getting faster and faster, and we need to have some type of a little bit of a boon. You know what I'm saying? Nobody knows what damn catches anymore. Ain't that the truth, Beantown? What's up, Mom? How you doing? The commentators could only sing praises of the Rams, didn't give anything to the Falcons. I know, dude. It's almost like the L.A. market. They're trying to appease them. Did anyone see Goff go fishing with Ragnow? He was clumsy out there, too. Just who he is. Yes, dude. And so is Brady. Yes. Yes, Jack. Yes. I'm not saying Jared Goff is Tom Brady, but they kind of have that just like, hey, man, I'm just out here playing ball. Where it's like, Caleb Williams is like, I'm in my hyperbaric fucking chamber recovery. And, Jalen Hurts is like Mr. Fitness. You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone's highly tuned. Brady and Goff are like, I play golf in the summer and I invest in real estate and I'm athletic enough to do my job. You know what I'm saying? Like, and yeah, he's just kind of clumsy. I think that a lot of the reason why people like myself like Jared Goff so much is the same reason we like Dan Campbell. The person behind the helmet. You're like, I bet they're a lot of fun to hang out with. You could ask one ref what a catch is every week, and he'll give you 17 different answers. Ain't that the truth, brother? Bears going to miss the Super Bowl because of CJ tweeting about the refs. Ooh, Kane. Have to keep our eye on that, dude. To be fair, R2-D2 may be better the ref than we have. Figs, Mr. Figs. That's the problem. As much as we don't want it, we all know that the reality is it's better than what we got. I don't think C-3PO is going to be just like glazing Patrick Mahomes the way that some officiating crews do. All right, boys. Let's kick it on over to some Lions coverage here on the second half of the show. Appreciate each and every one of you who are hanging out here. Let's see what we got live. What's going on? How we got, 20 of you guys hanging out? Damn, yo. If you could all just go to the share button, just copy that link down on your clipboard. It'll count as like 20 mid-show shares, bro. And that like really boosts things in the algorithm. And then please, if you could, subscribe to the channel. Just real quick, if you want to comment, all right? Hey, you people scrolling through on the shorts, that's right. We got the dual stream up. You guys on the shorts are watching. If you want to comment and join a Mad Hatter Nation, it costs you nothing but to hit the subscribe button. It's totally free. It's awesome. And Mad Hatter Nation is going to be happy to have you, unless you're an asshole, and then we give you the boot. Or I think someone self-deported from Mad Hatter Nation. At least systems will keep accountability for the clanker. Ain't that the truth, bro? Goff is smarter to make up for physical deficiencies. Way better than having Justin Fields as our QB, isn't it? And there you go, Jack. That is a prime compare and contrast. Beautiful. I couldn't have thought of a better... Jack. Nicely done. I like that, dude. I like that. I like where you're at with that. That is a really good take, dude. That is a really good take, actually. Yeah, I like that. That's a prime example. And unfortunately, then you run into the old argument of, white quarterbacks are only cerebral and black quarterbacks are only athletic. And why can't a black quarterback be cerebral and athletic? And that's the end of the argument. And that's the end of the argument. But real quick, I was mentioning, I don't know, dude, did you guys notice that I think someone got a little maybe upset about some free speech stuff and my mods doing what I asked them to do, and that is handle the chat. I think someone self-deported from Mad Hatter Nation yesterday, y'all. I think someone self-deported, which, whatever, man. I guess it is what it is. I'm about to if I could change. Dude, if I could change it from moderator from your title to just ICE agent, I totally would. All right, guys. Let's listen to what old MCDC's got to say for us here. Oops, I better unmute it.
Out there. All right, questions?
Obviously, it's not playoffs on the line, not division or anything, but just talk about the pride within this building. What's the mindset approaching this last game? Like, what you hoping to accomplish out of it?
Yeah, I mean, there again, man, we got one more left. And, look, you can always find a lot out with one to go. And no, we're not playing for the playoffs, but there's still things we can find out. And, and I expect the guys that we have here to give it what they got one more time. That's the expectation.
Jazz, what are some of the things you can find out?
How players play, how they do on the road, maybe a second time, how they play at this position, how they handle the pressure, how they handle with nothing to play for. There's a little bit of everything. Just find a lot out.
Vets or injured players, if any of you decided won't play, this weekend.
Well, the injury report is we're pretty riddled right now. So I don't know,
Man.
All year if those guys would be.
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll find more out here next day or two.
Man, we haven't seen that version of Dan Campbell in a while, man. That is a bummed out, tired Dan Campbell. Yo, I don't care about native. I don't need your lube, dude. If you're wondering whether Detroit Lions are going to play all of their starters in a, quote, meaningless Week 18 game against the Chicago Bears, Coach Dan Campbell gave a resounding maybe. Unsurprisingly, Campbell mentioned that the game can say a lot about teams' sets of players, and it's the standard in Detroit to give it all they've got every time they take the field. We heard what he said there. To that end, it certainly seems like the Lions plan on playing most of their starters. But when it comes to players who have been battling injuries all year, or those who may have suffered recent ones, Campbell is a little bit more elusive in his answers. He admitted, first of all, that they're pretty beat up right now. The injury report is we're pretty riddled right now, so I don't know. We'll find out more in the next day or two. I mean, if they can play, we're playing, Campbell said. Of those players, the star receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown, who appeared to aggravate a knee injury he's been battling. Campbell noted the knee is, quote, part of the injury and offered a long-term positive update. I think long-term he's going to be okay, which is good news, he said. Obviously, that makes it sound like the veteran receiver won't go against the Bears. But when pushed about his availability this week, Campbell was a little more open to it. Day-to-day, Campbell said. Day-to-day, he wants to go, and he'll be day-to-day. He's improved. Campbell was then asked if questionable designation is treated a little differently this week because of the low stakes of the game, and the Lions head coach admitted that it does. Yes, I think so. For sitting on the borderline of a player, it could be hard, or we think we're setting themselves up for a long-term risk. Then no, it's not worth it. That's a good idea. To that end, it sounds like the Lions will be a little bit more conservative with players who are 50-50 in playing, and they won't mess with players who are at risk of making an injury worse. But at the same time, it sounds like if a player is, quote, hurt and not injured, the expectation is to play. If you guys can't go because of injury, then the next guy up will go. Young or old, young or veteran, next guy available. If you're wondering if rookie Tater Ratledge could play center in the season finale, Campbell shut that down in a hurry. While he said that is not off the table for Ratledge's future in 2026 and beyond, it won't happen this Sunday against the Bears. I don't see that happening, Campbell said, which is good because we were digging around on Reddit, right? I'm not gonna lie, I like Reddit sometimes. Quote, here we go from Reddit. There's been growth. There's been what you want out of your rookies. Hang on. I can't see this. There we go. Now I can see what the hell we're doing. All right. Where we go? Get out of here. Get out of here. You want to feel like that you've been growth taking place between Graham Glasgow for most of the year, and Penne has helped, but there's a ton of growth left. He's going to have to take another step next year, preferably this next game coming up. Take another baby step here, but he's going to take another step, which he's got and he's capable of, Campbell said. Campbell's asked for Ratledge's ultimate position will be, and he didn't rule out a potential move to center in the future. Quote, that's a good question. I know that we felt like he could be a center, and that's still not off the table. We've watched him at guard. He played right guard in college. He's a good athlete. He's a big man. He can move. We'll find out, Campbell said. Yes, that is a very elusive, unfortunately, when you actually dig into it. Dan Campbell flat out says, I don't see that happening when asked if Ratledge would be playing center Sunday against the Bears. Flat out said, I don't see that happening. So we can go ahead and kibosh this right down. Although the future of Tater Ratledge might be at center for the Detroit Lions, that is definitely not what looks to be the immediate switch with 1 week left in the regular season. How do you guys feel, Mad Hatter Nation? How do we feel about Ratledge playing center? Do we think that he has developed with his protection and cerebral diagnoses of defensive schemes and what he's presented with to call out plays, protection schemes at a level better than Graham Glasgow, but maybe not quite at Frank Ragnow? I don't know because it hasn't been put on him. That's something that they'll have to diagnose internally, and we know that the Lions coaching staff not necessarily the most open when it comes to that type of decision. And this is something that we can speculate on based on moves that Brad Holmes may or may not make in the offseason, i.e. the free agency period and the draft or possible trade acquisition. It's something that we'll watch. Personally, I think Ratledge should stay at his natural position as center, and I think we should go after Slaughter from Florida. I can't remember his first name off the top of my head, but I'm very fond of him. When you see him on the field, it looks almost like Frank Ragnow out there playing. And I think that if we were to go after a guy who has spent his collegiate career or the bulk of his collegiate career playing at center at a high level in a high-level conference, I think that is probably the better solution than trying to cross-train Taylor Swift and switch. Tailor the position and switch. I don't know why I said Taylor Swift over to center. I think Ratledge looks good at the right guard. It's his natural position, especially right there next to Penei Sewell. But that is completely up in the air. Does Taylor Decker retire? If Taylor Decker retires, does Penei switch back over to the left side, his natural spot? There's a lot of questions, and I am begging you, Brad Holmes, please be a little bit transparent. Don't tell teams what you're doing, but you got to be open with the fan base, dude, because we're hungry. We wanted a championship this year. This is Super Bowl or bust. And by absolutely every metric, we failed to meet any and all expectations laid before us. We went from first in the division to the basement, number one seed in the NFC playoffs, to completely eliminated before playoff contention even really got underway. We never were in control of our own season. We failed to win back-to-back games this year. Yes, it was a giant failure, but this is how it goes with good teams. You have good years, you have bad years. The big thing is to not make this the standard. You have to make this the floor, right? This year has to be the floor, and last year win total has to be the ceiling, and then beyond we need to capitalize. Right now, there's all kinds of variables to last season. Ben Johnson already taking the job in Chicago. 157,000 players on IR. I mean, we practically had a JV team out there on defense in the secondary for a bulk of the season. It's just been rough sleddings, right? But yeah, I think this year we'll see. This year's offseason will be telling about the mentality and the aggressiveness. I need Brad Holmes to not be complacent and kind of fall in love with his guys. I know I'm sounding, I think, a lot like some guys on 97.1 The Ticket, but Brad Holmes has this problem of falling in love with his guys. Emmanuel Mosley, Levi Onwuzurike, Josh Paschal, right? These guys that he's very in love with. Marcus Davenport, right? There needs to be some hard looks in the mirror, some realizations that you're going to have to show that the NFL is in fact a business. And even though you love your guys, if they're not performing, the NFL is a business, and it's time to move on. Alex Anzalone, Amik Robertson. That's just the reality of DJ Reader. That's just the nature of the business, you know. What do we got going on here in Mad Hatter Nation? I vote no on Ratledge at center. Find another or move Mahogany to center. I like that. I like where you're at, Jack, because Mahogany's a little bit stouter. It's like a little stump in there, dude. I think he's only like 6'3". I leave Ratledge at guard and try to sign a veteran at center and draft one also. Double dipping, Brett. I like where you're at, dude. Little insurance policy with your future, you know. Should be nothing but evaluation game. Ratledge at center, Penne at left tackle, and see if Manu is worth a damn right tackle, or a darn at right tackle. Feed to Slaw. That's fair. I like where you're at. I'm not too wild about center, the switch to center, or Penne, really. But I get where you're at, dude. I'd like to see what Manu's got. Maybe we could see a Hassanin sighting or something like that, though. I think the most, I think what you're probably going to see is like maybe Dominic Lovett getting some more repetition. Maybe some secondary, maybe Nick Whiteside getting a little bit more exposure. Our safeties, unfortunately, Hallett's gone to Tennessee, which sucks because he could really be flourishing right now, but it is what it is, especially with Avonte Maddox probably going to be out. I wouldn't imagine Avonte Maddox suits up in a Lions uniform again for his career. I can't blame Coach Dan not answering questions to those so-called press conferences. He is nicer than I would be. Hell yeah, Jack. You can tell he didn't want to, but he did it anyway, you know. He's not a decent right tackle. He's a bust. Time to move on. And Rick, and that's kind of the thing. I'm tired of these swings on players, dude. Like, sometimes they work out. Tesla's kind of trending in that way. Amon-Ra St. Brown, clearly working out. You know what I'm saying? Manu, no. Paschal, nope. Onwuzurike, nope. You know, we got some misses, dude. And I'd rather take a guy with an a locked-in, high-performing floor, but maybe not as big of an upside than this guy with a just under-the-basement floor. But, he could have this all-star ceiling. You know, I stopped signing and drafting injured players. You got to take big swings when you're rebuilding, and he did, and they hit. But now's the time to play smart ball. You got to take big swings on guaranteed shit. You know what I'm saying? You can't take big swings on Derek Barnes. I'm not saying Derek Barnes is a bust, but I'm saying we overpaid for Derek Barnes probably by about $3 million. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So a discussion, which Lions player should play more versus the Bears, kind of bookends the show. Let's go ahead and close that out. Thank you. Which Detroit Lions players do you want to see play more in the team's finale against the Chicago Bears? And it's going to be a cold, shitty day. Based on Monday's press conference, Dan Campbell said the Lions appear to be treating their regular season finale against the Chicago Bears mostly like any other. Despite the fact the Lions have already been eliminated from postseason contention, Campbell wants the team to compete. We're not playing for the playoffs, but there's still things we could find out. I think if guys can go because of injury, we've read that. So here we go. But the Lions' final game, the season approaches, we can hope and root for Lions to play any players they want, even if it's not likely to happen. So today's question of the day is, which Lions players do you want to see play versus the Bears? And this is kind of a interactive section here. We're going to read what Jeremy has to say, and I want to know what you guys have to say in the chat. Let me know. Who Jake Slaughter, that's his name. Shout out American Boxer. Thank you, brother. Who would you guys like to see play? Who would you like to see get some reps in Sunday's game, right? Some guys that you're like, come on, man, let's see some splashes. Obviously, Tesla is probably going to lead the way. We're all really high on Tesla, Manu, If we could elevate Hassanin for a game, that'd be great. Unfortunately, guys like Enos the Penis Breakstraw has been on IR all year, but this would be a good spot for a guy like him. Like I said, Nick Whiteside's a good dude, But Jeremy Reisman says he can go in a lot of directions here. Detroit could throw out fan favorite rookie Ahmed the Hammer, the Egyptian magician Hassanin, and see what he provides. Maybe it'd be neat to see rookie receiver Dominic Lovett play some offensive snaps. Or maybe you want to see the continued development of offensive tackle Giovanni Manu. But the first name that comes to mind for him is Mekhi Wingo. The 2024 sixth-round pick showed a little bit of promise in limited play his rookie season before he suffered a season-ending injury. There was some hope entering 2025 that he would take a second-year jump and provide some much-needed pass rush from the interior. Instead, the Lions invested in defensive tackle this offseason, drafting Tyleek the Freak Williams in the first round and signing veteran Roy Lopez in free agency. As a result, Wingo has played in just one game this year, amassing a total of 37 snap performance all the way back in week 2, against the Bears. Wingo is a bit undersized for an interior defender, so I'm sure Detroit was afraid of how he'd impact their run defense. And while stopping the run will be an important key this week against the Bears, why not throw Wingo out there and see what he can do? Maybe he surprises the staff with his ability to get upfield quickly and make plays in the backfield. What's most frustrating about Wingo's situation is that he's making a ton of buzz in practice. Per the offensive line via Justin Rogers, Wingo has been a, quote, pain in the ass all year to deal with. And when the Lions coaches talk about him, they seem happy with his progress. He's doing a good job. This is nothing on him. He's just got to continue to keep working and improve his craft, Campbell said about Wingo in the crowded defensive tackle room in October. This guy, for me, watching him, has really, really been impressive, D-line coach Casey Rogers said earlier this month. The thing that he's able to do athletically, I'm telling you, he's right there. And I'm glad he's here with us. Time to see some of that athleticism flash on the field. Let's get a taste and make sure Wingo can get that next step in development, which can only really be achieved through game reps. That's a good take there, Jeremy. Mekhi Wingo, kind of a forgotten player. There was some hype around him, but we've never really seen it. He's never really gotten that crack at the defensive tackle room, and that is because it is a very crowded defensive tackle room. DJ Reader, now Ali McNeil, Roy Lopez, Tyleek Williams. It's just crowded, dude. And with our front four, we like guys that are kind of tweener positions. And Mekhi Wingo kind of fits that spot, kind of that heavier set defensive end, undersized defensive tackle. And maybe we give him a crack at the Bears. Who knows? If not, when are we really going to find out what he's got as far as game speed ability? If there's a time to take the swing, why not just go ahead and take the swing right now? You know what I'm saying? How do we feel about that, Mad Hatter Nation? We got a few minutes here left in the show. Just going to kind of chat and beard our way out to the end. We managed to make it through all the articles. Look at us go. All right, guys. I was saying, you want to see Hassanin? Hell yeah, dude. I do too. Derek Barnes was used differently this year compared to how he earned his contract. Let him be a pass rusher or trade him to the Jets. Yes, Jack. Yes, brother. Yes, I've been saying that. I was like, Derek Barnes actually has a couple of moves in his pass rush, but we're relying on him to be in coverage a little bit more than I think is his natural ability. Right tackle might actually be our biggest need on offense. We have to do some shuffling to see what's really needed. Yes, Rick, and that kind of comes back to, is Penny going to move to the left tackle or not? American Boxer wants to see Montgomery played more. I kind of figured you were going to say that, my guy. I don't blame you. That's cruel to the Jets. Just end the season's team. That's the Jets' problem. Hell yeah, you guys. Awesome. Well, you know what? Let's take a look up here. I found this video the other day. Here you go. We'll finish the show out with this little 15-minute, or some of it. This guy did a good breakdown. I've been talking about the development of the NFL quarterback has been retarded coming out of college. And I don't mean like they're retarded. I mean the growth is actually retarded between college and pros. And Troy Burt here has a nice little video about it that we're going to sit here and enjoy. I thought he did a good job. Now, I will be honest, when did he release this? About 2 weeks ago. It seems that all of us NFL content creators all got the fucking patch update at the same time? Because I feel like all of us at the same time just went, what's with all these quarterbacks not being able to make it at their first team but having a turnaround come your team 2, team 3? What's with that? I've been talking about it. Brett Coleman did a whole video about it. Now Troy Burt's doing a video about it. So let's check this out. I'm actually going to hit him with a subscribe real quick here because I like this guy's
murdered
video.
in cold blood. And we're here to solve the mystery of who or what killed him. I've got 3 suspects in mind. But before we get to those suspects, let me explain what I mean when I say that the project quarterback is dead. Modern quarterbacks simply don't get the time that they used to prove themselves, and teams are moving on from their young quarterbacks faster than ever. And I'm sure you as a fan have felt that as well. In just the last few years, we have a ton of examples to choose from. We've got Anthony Richardson, who coming into the league was already known to be a raw prospect that would need a lot of developing. He was benched during his second season after only starting in 10 games. We also saw the 49ers leverage their future by trading 3 first-round draft picks for Trey Lance, only for him to throw a little over 100 passing attempts for the team before they inevitably moved on and traded him to the Cowboys for a 4th-round pick and a pack of warm Skittles that was marinating in Jerry Jones's pocket. And then even more recently, even though he wasn't actually benched, we had talking heads from major networks already declaring J.J. McCarthy a bust.
Well, that's because J.J. McCarthy sucks. I mean, he's a bust because he sucks.
After struggling in his first 5 NFL games. And this is troubling because it wasn't always like this. And we have history as an example to back that up. A perfect example of how patient teams used to be is Terry Bradshaw. He was drafted in 1970 as the first overall pick, and in his first season, he threw 6 touchdowns and 24 interceptions with a 38% completion rating. If that happened today, Terry Bradshaw would have been delivering for Uber Eats before the end of his rookie season, and the internet, of course, would have made him the face of countless memes. And by the way, Terry wasn't some sort of weird exception. Troy Aikman went 0-11 during his rookie year. He only completed 52% of his passes, and he threw 9 touchdowns against 18 interceptions. Peyton Manning threw 28 interceptions in his first NFL season and set a rookie record for picks. The Colts went 3-13, and I think it's safe to say that if that happened today, half the Colts fan base would be screaming that the backup should take over. You may be saying to yourself, but Troy, those 3 Hall of Famers obviously got more time given to them because their teams saw the potential that they had. But that just isn't true. Joey Harrington started 55 games for the Lions, despite playing below average for the duration of his time there. David Carr...
Dude... Ugh, Joey Harrington, just hearing his name makes like my just skin crawl, dude. Like, no, Joey Harrington. I was more of a Mike McMahon guy back in those days.
Another former first overall pick, started 75 games for the Texans before they finally moved on and everybody labeled him a bust. CBS Sports actually did a study on this as well, and the numbers are insane. In the 2000s, first-round quarterbacks averaged 81 starts for their original team, and by the 2010s, that number dropped to just 52 starts. On average, that's 30 fewer games to prove yourself. And according to Warren Sharp, since 2011, only 39% of first-round quarterbacks have signed a second contract with the team that drafted them. A young quarterback used to be an investment. It was a multi-year bet on potential. Now in today's game, it seems like he's just a lottery ticket. And if you don't hit by year 2 or year 3, teams decide to throw that lotto ticket into the trash and try again. Things have obviously changed, which brings us to suspect number 1 of our murder mystery, the 2011 collective bargaining agreement. Before 2011, drafting a quarterback in the top 5 wasn't just a football decision.
You guys remember this? You guys remember before the rookie salary cap, before the rookie salary cap, when they were just like, bro, Jamarcus Russell was making like $60 fucking million without ever touching an NFL field, bro. And then Matt Stafford got like 66 million or something like that as a like this insane rookie numbers for these Sam Bradford, dude. Like these guys were just getting unbelievable contracts as a rookie. It was wild, man.
Financial investment. Players coming into the league could negotiate their contracts and get paid based purely on potential. There was no cap on what a rookie can make, so every year, the top picks would hold out longer and longer, squeezing teams for more and more money. And of course, they were all trying to get more money than the players in the previous draft. So as you might have guessed, rookie contracts, especially for incoming quarterbacks, inflated at a rapid pace. Jamarcus Russell went first overall in the 2007 draft, and he got $32 million guaranteed. Just 2 years later, Matthew Stafford got $41.7 million guaranteed. And then in 2010, Sam Bradford got a whopping $50 million guaranteed. None of these guys had thrown a single pass in the NFL yet, and the market for unproven quarterbacks was spiraling out of control. This was obviously a huge reason for why teams felt like they had to stick with their quarterback for longer, even at the detriment of their franchise. When someone like Jamarcus Russell clearly wasn't the answer, the Raiders couldn't just cut him, because when they finally did, they had to eat almost $18 million in dead cap, which at the time was a significant portion of the cap itself. Teams weren't being patient because they believed in development, they were being patient because they literally could not afford to give up in some of these cases. Before we get to the rest of the video, here's a quick word from but he's afraid of a phone call. It's not just the phone call. ZocDoc for being today's sponsor. Now back to the video. In 2011, when the new collective bargaining agreement took effect, everything surrounding rookie contracts literally changed overnight. The new agreement introduced something called a rookie wage scale, which essentially gave every draft spot a predetermined contract value. This was designed to cut down on the lengthy holdouts and the skyrocketing rookie salaries that were beginning to cripple teams. To show you just how dramatic the shift was, Cam Newton went first overall in 2011, just 1 year after Sam Bradford. Bradford got a 6-year deal worth $78 million in total. Cam Newton, on the other hand, got a 4-year deal worth only $22 million. The cost of the first overall pick dropped by $56 million overnight. Under the old system, cutting a bust meant eating a massive dead cap hit that could set your franchise back for years. Under the new system,
and the bitch of it is like every system, not just NFL, but like globally, all systems are so reactionary instead of being proactive. Like they could see the writing on the wall 6 years prior, but failed to do anything about it. They just are like, fuck it, let it run wild. We'll address it after it's a problem. No, dude, you can see it coming. Fucking
system, cutting a bust was annoying, but ultimately survivable. And when the cost of failure goes down, teams become much more willing to fail. Not only did the new rookie wage scale save teams a massive amount of money, but it also gave teams a 5th-year option on first-round picks. Now, in theory, that sounds like it would give quarterbacks more time, but it actually did the opposite. Teams have to decide whether or not to pick up that 5th-year option by the end of year 3, which means the real evaluation window isn't 4 years, it's essentially 3 years or less. By the time a quarterback finishes his second season, a lot of front offices are already making the call on whether or not he's going to be the guy. The new CBA also fundamentally changed the way that teams viewed team building. The most valuable thing in football isn't just having a good quarterback anymore. It's having a good quarterback who's still on their rookie contract. When Russell Wilson was on his rookie deal in Seattle making $700 grand a year, the Seahawks could spend that money everywhere else. They built an elite defense, surrounded him with weapons, and won a Super Bowl. And we can also
talk about that all the time, don't we,
Chiefs,
boys?
did the same thing with
you got to
Mahomes.
build around that rookie scale contract. The Patriots are in perfect position right now. They got an MVP caliber quarterback on a rookie scale contract. Spend money. Go get AJ Brown in the offseason. Go get AJ Brown in the offseason. Go get AJ Brown in the offseason. The Bills are going to want AJ Brown. New England, go get AJ Brown. Watch that diva wide receiver room explode.
And that brings us to suspect number 2, the new attention economy. Back in the 70s and 80s, when Terry Bradshaw was throwing more interceptions than touchdowns, the only people who knew about it were fans in the stadium and fans who were deeply invested enough in the NFL to read the box score in the newspaper the next morning. There was no Twitter, no Instagram, and ESPN wasn't debating how the poor performance could somehow be tied to the Michael Jordan versus LeBron James debate. Bad game was just a bad game, and while there was pressure, sure, for the most part, everyone got to move on with their lives. That world does not exist anymore. Now, when a rookie quarterback has a rough day, the entire internet knows about it before he's even done with his post-game press conference. Even the most casual NFL fan will get fed clips and hot takes about why this guy is already a bust. It's also important to point out that before social media, legacy media outlets were just competing with each other. ESPN was competing with Fox Sports. The local newspaper was competing with other local newspapers. And because they were all competing for the same relatively stable audience, there was room for nuance. If you were a journalist, you could write a thoughtful breakdown of why a rookie was struggling, and people might actually read it. You didn't have to catastrophize everything just to get attention. But now, in today's world, legacy media isn't just competing with each other, they're competing with the entire internet all the time. They're competing against random accounts that have millions of followers. They're also competing with podcasts recorded in someone's basement. And they're competing with TikToks, YouTube Shorts, and tweets that go viral within
or Grandma's Studio One.
In that kind of environment, there's no way that nuance can possibly survive. Most people today aren't going to click on the article or video that says, QB shows promise despite growing pains, but it's okay because he's still young, and he may work out after all once he figures out how to dissect double mug defense. But what does get attention are proclamations like, "Is this the biggest bust in NFL history?" That sort of title gets attention, and no matter if you're an independent creator or a huge organization like ESPN, attention still pays the bills. We now have this never-ending cycle where everyone's trying to one-up each other with more dramatic takes. Once the narrative starts circulating, there's no stopping it. Another thing that's changed that I don't think gets brought up nearly enough is the talk of some teams being in a big market. Growing up, we all heard about how tough it was to play in a big market. During every draft,
I'll
the
give this
question
guy
would
credit, but
inevitably
I
come
got to
up
stop.
on how will
I'm
this
sorry.
kid
I can't stand that he does one sentence and then cuts. Ugh, that sucks.
handle
Watch him.
playing in New York or Dallas. And
Cut.
I'd argue that that doesn't matter at all anymore. Because
Cut.
of social media, everywhere is a big market. It
Cut.
doesn't matter if you play for the Jags or the Titans or the Panthers. Your
Cut.
mistakes will be amplified and
Cut.
broadcast to millions of people instantly.
Cut.
The Vikings offensive coordinator Wes Phillips actually talked about this, and I think he put it perfectly.
Cut.
He said that quarterbacks now face extreme declarations after every single game.
Cut.
One week you're the next great thing, and the next week you're a cautionary tale.
Cut.
The
You
evaluation
can see
of
his eyes
quarterbacks
move.
is happening in the public in real time with millions of people participating.
Looks
When
away,
you
cut.
combine the media pressure with the financial freedom of the 2011 CBA, you get a
Looks away and
situation where
cuts.
teams are incentivized to move on fast and are punished for being patient. But of course, the media pressure alone isn't enough to explain everything. There's
Cut.
still one more suspect, and I think this one might be the most damaging of
Cut.
them all. I'm talking about warped expectations. There used to be an understanding in the NFL that rookie quarterbacks would struggle. You draft a guy, you let him learn the speed of the game, and you accept that he's going to make a lot of mistakes, but fundamentally, you have to give him the time to figure it out and see what you have. And that understanding seems to be gone. I think a big reason for that is quarterbacks who have come in and succeed early, like Patrick Mahomes. Patrick won MVP in his second season, which was his first season ever taking snaps as an NFL starter. Suddenly, every team in the league looked at their quarterback situation and thought, we need to find our own Patrick Mahomes. We don't want a guy who could maybe be great in 5 or 6 years. We need a guy who could be great right now. CJ Stroud also came in as a rookie and took the Texans to the divisional round. He was another example of a quarterback who came fresh out of the box, ready to play without needing any real adjustment period. And even though both of those guys are clearly huge outliers, for better or for worse, they've become the new baseline for what a young quarterback should look like. The best way I can frame this is imagine that you started dating someone new, and she tells you her last boyfriend was a Navy SEAL who started his own company and sold it for $30 million. Her standards for what you
Her ex
should
is
be
Jocko.
are completely warped now, and you're going to be fighting an uphill battle. That's essentially what Mahomes and Stroud did to the entire league's expectations for rookie quarterbacks. When a rookie quarterback struggles and he throws a few picks or he looks overwhelmed by an NFL defense, the reaction from most fans is, this guy is ass, and we drafted a complete bust. Now, these warped expectations haven't just affected quarterback timeline. They've also affected the coaches and the front office. Just think about it from a head coach's perspective. The average NFL head coach lasts maybe 3 or 4 years if they're lucky. If you draft a quarterback and then you start to see him play and you realize this guy needs 3 or 4 years to develop, you're basically betting your entire career that you'll still be employed by the time this guy figures it out. A lot of coaches and GMs
Brian
aren't willing to
Dable.
make that bet, rightfully so. Even if you believe in the guy and you think that he has all the tools, sometimes the math just doesn't work out. You need results now, or you're going to get fired and the next head coach is going to be the one that benefits from the time you took to develop this young quarterback. So what do you do if you're a coach or GM and your quarterback isn't showing enough early? Obviously, you start thinking about moving on. In today's NFL, there's no incentive structure for patience. Everybody involved from top to bottom is fighting for their job. And unfortunately, this timeline has nothing to do with how long it actually takes to develop a quarterback. The entire timeline is based on job security. In just the last few years, we've seen proof that this impatience is definitely costing teams. Just look at Sam Darnold. The Jets gave up on him after 3 years and decided he wasn't the guy and they moved on. Now he's having a great year in Seattle after proving himself in Minnesota last year. Baker Mayfield is more of the same. He got ran out of Cleveland, he bounced around the league
Two
for a
names
little
that I
while,
bring up.
and now he's a legitimate starter in Tampa Bay. And then there's Daniel Jones, who got cut by the Giants. Everyone
Mac
and their mom wrote him
Jones.
off. And
Watch
then
it
he went
happen to
Indianapolis and had a
Will
career
Levis will be
year
the next
before
one.
having his season cut short by
Or
injury.
AR-15.
These are guys who got labeled as busts.
Will Levis
You
will
could
be the next
definitely
one,
argue
though.
that a lot of those teams
Watch.
had the answer
Will Levis
right
will be
in
the
front
next
of them,
one.
but they threw it away because they simply couldn't wait. Now, with the analysis of our 3 suspects out of the way, it's time we decide which one of these is really responsible for killing our beloved project quarterback. The 2011 CBA took a lot of the financial pain out of the equation that it took to give up on a quarterback. The attention economy that social media has introduced turned every bad throw into a referendum on a guy's entire career. And finally, warped expectations convinced everyone that if a rookie isn't Mahomes by week 10, he might be a failure. And after this long investigation, I've concluded that this murder wasn't a solo job. no single suspect killed the project quarterback on their own. All three of these work together in unison. It's important to note that we have not captured these suspects, and they are still on the run as we speak. If you or a loved one are a young quarterback who's planning on making it to the league, please be on the lookout for these three suspects. They are.
So you guys get the gist of it. Real quick, Mr. Figs, dude. So, I brought up Brian Dable. He's also a name that I've kind of thought could be an offensive coordinator for the Lions. You mentioned him replacing Matt Nagy. I don't follow the Chiefs. Is Nagy out? Is he going to be getting another crack at head coaching, or are y'all moving on past Matt Nagy? Because you had one down year. one down year. Nah, man, I feel you, though. I think Brian Dable's a lot better offense coordinator than he is a head coach. I kind of was hoping that the Lions would have brought him in right the same week that he got fired, because that was the week we were playing Philadelphia, but that didn't really happen. Oh, it was the last year on his contract. Gotcha. That makes sense. So it's probably just going to be a mutual separation because their offense is kind of a dumpster fire, dude. I was kind of thinking maybe the Chiefs need a wide receiver, and I wouldn't be surprised if they try again A.J. Brown, or I don't know why, but I would be surprised if Brian Thomas Jr. is still in Jacksonville come this time next year. But Brian Thomas Jr. could be a wide receiver that the Chiefs, I wouldn't be surprised to try to make a swing at. Yeah, backup for a true starter for a couple years. I wouldn't mind Will Levis as our backup QB. Rick, I wouldn't either, dude. I actually kind of like that. Dable as OC and Todd Bowles as DC would be just fine with me. Dude, that would be a great combination, actually. Oh, man. Build those trenches. Oh, okay. Yeah, Mr. Figs, the Kansas City offensive line was pretty bad. You guys were relying on Mahomes running around back there doing Mahomes things way more than you ever should have, dude. That offensive line was bad, bad, bad. But, hey, you know what? You're just like us, dude. Not in playoff contention, so we should have you and us, we should have a pretty good swing at getting a high prospect along the offensive line in the draft. Historically terrible. Oh, yeah, that makes that. So, okay, so it wasn't just, I'm not just seeing it as like a terrible offensive line. It is like metrically a bad offensive line. That sucks, dude. That sucks. Well, guys, that's going to be it for today. We covered some stories. I closed them out so that we could have this video play with no bog down or issues or nothing like that. So that's going to be it for today. I appreciate each and every one of you who tuned in, who partook in the poll. 15 votes. 60% of you said 281-330-8004. Hit Mike Jones up on the low because Mike Jones about to blow. That's right. That is the correct answer. Option A was the correct answer. You got her, otter. That's going to be it for today, guys. Try and have yourself a good rest of the day. Stay out of trouble. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. We will be right back here tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Hat and Beard Show. Appreciate you guys in Mad Hatter Nation. Share this around with all your friends. Have a good rest of your day. Stay out of trouble. I've been Hat and Beard. You've been an attentive audience. Until then, bonga bonga. Frig off.